Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video where today we're going to be taking a look at the newest gaming router that has taken the market by a storm. Everyone's been waiting for this thing to come out, and I finally got my hands on one. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the NetDUMA R2, and it's an internet router that's sole purpose is to give you the upper hand in online multiplayer games. By simply using this router, you can get consistently low ping and smooth gameplay with little to no lag whatsoever. But does it actually work, and how good is it really? We're about to find out. Before we get started, if you could do me a favor and just very gently tap the like button. It takes like 2 seconds and it's also very good luck. In case you're wondering, and no, this is not a sponsored video, I paid for this thing with my own money, but I do want to say thank you to whoever saw my order and wrote this very nice note. You absolutely made my day. But starting off with the router itself, it's actually very small. I was pleasantly surprised to see that it takes up little to no space at all, which is great, especially compared to my current router, the Netgear XR500, which pretty much takes up like half my desk. But with the release of the NetDUMA R2, we get the new Duma OS 3.0 firmware, which is honestly amazing. It's pretty much the heart and soul of what makes this router so great, and we're going to talk more about that here in a minute. For hardware performance, we get gigabit Ethernet, which is expected, dual band AC1200 Wi-Fi, which is not that great, a multi-threaded dual-core processor, 256 megabytes of flash, and 128 megabytes of RAM. I did perform a few speed tests, and I was actually very surprised to see how well the NetDUMA R2 held up on a gigabit fiber connection. It even beat my Netgear XR500 in several tests. And while wireless performance was decent, it wasn't anything amazing. I'd say at this price point, there are definitely better options if you're just looking for the fastest Wi-Fi possible. But it all comes down to your connection and how much speed you're actually paying for. On 5 gigahertz, I was maxing out at roughly around 250 megabits per second. But let's talk about the new Duma OS 3.0 firmware, because this is the secret to getting the best connection in any game that you play. And it's honestly the main reason that people go out and buy a NetDUMA or a Netgear XR router. The biggest selling point of Duma OS is the geo filter. And what it does is it makes it so you only connect to game servers that are closest to you. This guarantees that you consistently get the lowest ping because you won't be connecting to servers that are outside your designated area or too far away. You can even completely block servers or players that give you a bad connection. Now with the Duma OS 3.0 update, you can actually create custom geofences with polygon mode, which is really cool, and it just gives you more control over what servers and players that you're connecting to. The ping heat map is also a brand new feature of the Duma OS 3.0 update, and it lets you see exactly where the servers are for all of your favorite multiplayer games. For example, if you select Call of Duty Warzone, it shows you all of the available servers and their estimated latency from your exact location. That's pretty cool. Next up is QoS, and this ensures that your games always have enough bandwidth to play at optimum performance. You can use congestion control to prevent heavy bandwidth using applications like Netflix and streaming from causing your games to lag, and you can do so without causing issues for other people in your household. Bandwidth allocation lets you choose which devices get the most bandwidth for when they need it the most, and with the new update you can even sort it by applications, which makes everything much easier. So let's say you want your games to have the most bandwidth. You can just move the slider to games, and that's it. It's very easy. Now besides the geo filter, this particular feature right here is what made me switch to an XR500 a couple years back, and I'm really glad to see that it's made a return on the NetDUMA R2. The traffic prioritization feature automatically senses gaming traffic on your network and then bumps it to top priority on your connection. And it can do so without disturbing other people that are using your internet. It's literally set it and forget it. You just turn it on and it works. As you can see, when I start playing a game on my PS4, it kicks in and starts prioritizing. Very cool. So now that I've shown you some of the features of the NetDUMA R2 that help you get a better connection in multiplayer games, it's time to tell you what I think. Honestly, the features do work very well. I've been using them for a couple years now on my XR500, but the Duma OS 3.0 update just takes everything to the next level and offers tons of improvements over the previous firmware. I'll probably do a more in-depth review in the near future because, to be honest, there is just a ton of stuff to cover on this router and I'm still learning a lot of the new features. Price-wise, the NetDUMA NetDUMA R2 comes in at just around $150, and in my opinion, for all the features that you get, I'd say it's definitely worth it. The good news is if you already own a Netgear XR router, you will be able to upgrade to the new Duma OS 3.0 firmware coming very soon. But if you've been thinking about switching to NetDUMA or Netgear for Duma OS, you really should do it, especially if you're a gamer. I did it about 2 years ago and I've honestly never looked back. It's just made that much of a noticeable difference. So you're welcome, NetDUMA, for the free shout out. But in conclusion, I'm going to give my final thoughts on the NetDUMA R2 and Duma OS 3.0. Because I already know that this is going to be a question in the comments, I'm going to answer it now, and that is, do I think it's worth switching over to the NetDUMA R2 if you already have a Netgear XR router? And I think the answer to this is kind of tricky because it all just depends on how the NetDUMA team plans on supporting their firmware going forward. From what I understand, the NetDUMA R2 should be receiving future updates and new features a lot quicker than the Netgear routers. So if this is true, then I think it would be beneficial in the long run to make the switch, but only time will tell. As far as stability is concerned, I haven't experienced any major issues yet, which is good, but I did run into a couple hiccups with certain menus not loading in the firmware. I was able to fix this with a quick reboot, and I haven't experienced the issue again thus far. But I gotta say though, I think the NetDUMA R2 has probably the fastest reboot on any router that I have tested. I know that's kind of random, but I think a full power cycle takes like less than 30 seconds. It's insanely quick. I do also like the design of the router, but I think it would have been cool that instead of the red accents, they changed them to like a gloss black and then made it so you can change the colors of the LED lights. I'm sure that would have added to the price, but I think it would have been a nice touch. But other than that, I think I've said pretty much everything that I need to say about the NetDUMA R2 for now. Like I said, I'll probably be doing a more in-depth review or best settings video in the future, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful or at least interesting. And if you did, make sure to leave a like rating on the video, comment below to let me know what you think, and as always, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for post notifications. I'll see you guys in the next video.